And we are
difficult
back. This has just been technical difficulties all night long. Started an hour late, and good old Windows updates and all that fun stuff. And then we just went through a bunch of stuff, and didn't record any of it. So, well, hello out there. This is Uptown Tonight, and today we have Kary Janousek, and she is a dang it. Wet plate Collodian artist.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, I'm going to screw this up all night, but I'm going to do my best. Wet plate Collodian artist. And she did some photos for us a couple weeks ago, which we're going to really get into on that because it was a fun experience. None of us expected it to be anything that it was, other than that there was going to be an old camera involved. And we got a little video of that and all that other stuff and everything else. But today is July 7th of 2021, and I hope everyone had a great July 4th. I know we did. We were on the road there for a little bit. We had 3 shows since we talked to you last, and let's see, at the windbreak went really great. And then we're up in Devil's Lake where we almost got rained out, and that was a fun show at the end there. And then I was stupid and didn't get enough sleep and or fed myself in water, and July 4th got a little embarrassing for me. It kind of went through the heat sickness type thing, but I made it. I just had to let everyone know that it was kind of embarrassing.
Oh, get it
I'm
out
not
there.
as young as I used
Let
to
go
be.
of the shame.
Exactly. So, but that was a lot of fun. We were out there, a bunch of old cars in the tree lines and all that. Apparently, I ain't gonna say what he has out there because they're really cool cars. So I don't want anyone to look for them. But I know he's trying to sell me this 58 Fleetwood. That was just an old limo. It was kind of half stuck in the ground. Oh, man, it's just majestic. Got me really thinking about it. But I got enough projects. I don't need anything like that. So let's get to Kary here since we're running really late. So, Kary, I like to know where everyone came from and why they're here and all that other fun stuff. Now, we know what you do, and we're going to get into that in just a bit. But where did you come from? Are you from the Fargo-Moorhead area? Or?
I am not.
You are not. Okay. Where are you from?
I was born in Ohio.
Oh, hi. Well, that isn't too far away.
Yeah. And then I lived in Florida for a while as a young girl. And then my parents moved back to Ohio.
Okay, so the Florida thing was just kind of like a job thing from your parents, or is it just...
I think they just wanted to
try something
new. I don't know.
Okay. You were really young then?
Yeah. I mean, I was from like 4 to 12.
Oh, so you couldn't really...
I grew up on the beach. It was really awesome.
Oh, man.
I got to, I remember
Envious.
back then they didn't really care if you left your kids alone. I don't want to get my parents into trouble. So I was left while they were at work, and I literally grew up eating just oranges.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was fun. And then you could play on the beach, and it was summer every day. And I mean, unless you had to do schoolwork, so.
Well, it is Florida. The only things I remember of Florida is being hot, Mickey Mouse, and old people.
Well, and I know Florida has a reputation for, being the weirdos. The weirdos of the country. I probably took on a little bit of the crazy Florida,
the weirdo spot.
Floridian
well,
weirdo.
So you have to be that way. Life gets really boring if you don't.
Yeah, come on.
But I just remember
just a dash of it.
The water smelling like sulfur too. Do you remember that at all?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, it had this distinct smell to it. But maybe that's just where I was at.
I was kind of a tomboy, so I did at that time. So I would climb all the trees and just run around like a crazy girl and get into trouble. It was a good place to grow up.
You see any alligators or anything like that?
Oh, yeah.
The
They're
geckos?
everywhere. Yeah. I mean, they're at the parks. The kids are at the park, and, there's an alligator. Better.
Now, those are the well, I won't say lethal, but is it the crocodiles are the ones that are aggressive, or is it the alligators?
I don't know.
You just stayed away?
I didn't stay away. I mean, they just are there. And then,
they're just there.
And the thing is if there's a shark in the water when you're at the beach, they just make an announcement like there's sharks in the water, and so you leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been on the beach a couple of times, but
I don't mean to interrupt, but could we technically put your microphone up a little bit like Wade's is, put it down and then face it upward on you?
Unless you're talking that way.
No, turn it up. Help her, Wade. Turn it upside down.
I don't know what to do.
Talking to like this.
And then push that one down.
Yep, not across into it.
And then push it down, the whole thing down.
There you go.
Yep, and then upward. Now put that up. Yeah, there you go. Now we got your face.
It wants to drop.
Oh.
What did I do?
That's good right there.
Okay.
That'll work. That'll work. There we go. Now we got your face.
Make it
here.
happen. There we go.
And we're like, what are you doing, Cito? Her face is covered up the whole time.
No, that's okay. They don't need to see. My face is all over the internet because of my hat shop. But I did move to. My family moved back to Ohio.
Okay.
And so then, yeah, we lived in a ghetto type area. I shouldn't say that because my parents still live there, but it's a river town. Yeah, it's a river town.
It's Ohio.
And it was beautiful because it's on the tail end of the Appalachian Mountains, but it's an economically
Diverse.
They have troubles.
Okay.
Well, everywhere has places like that, but I think that area struggles quite a bit. So, yeah. So
They have all
Ohio
different types,
River.
or else it gets boring. Yeah. Again. So Ohio. Then how did you end up in Fargo of all
Okay,
places?
well,
That's what I always wonder.
Should I lay out my life?
Your life? Well, you can just make it more abridged.
Okay. I had ended a relationship and I needed to get away from the situation. So I moved up here to live with my good girlfriend at the time, who I'd grown up with in Florida, and her family had moved up here. So we had stayed in touch all those years. And I had been here before because I visited to say, hey, how you doing, and hang out because we knew each other in Florida. And we just were really close. We were pen pals, and yeah, I just moved in with her, and I met my husband, and I stayed.
Simple. What year was that then? If we can be so bold.
Now I'm going to be told for how old I am.
Oh, okay.
It
Well, you
was-
don't have to say
No,
if you
I
don't
don't
want
care.
to.
It was 2004.
In 2004?
Yeah.
Well, that isn't so bad. About 15 years in? Yeah.
16,
15,
right?
16?
Yeah. 17, actually. I think it's 17 now.
So just keep pushing it up.
Yeah.
That's okay. So what part of town did you move into then right away? Just
I lived downtown, so we lived near Zambros. We lived kind of
Oh.
above there. And I worked at Bab's Coffee House, used to be on Broadway. I was a
remember Bab's.
barista. And I worked at the Frying Pan. I had the midnight shift.
Oh, the old graveyards.
Uh-huh.
Fun. And that's what you did at first when you got up here? Yep.
Yep.
And how'd you find your husband then?
Oh, well, he was a musician at the coffee house.
A musician at the coffee house. So, John, that's how we did it.
No, he was going to teach me guitar. So,
Oh.
No, he did teach me. I learned like 3 songs.
That line always.
Take
No,
him
he
on
was
Cito's
very
playbook.
well behaved. He didn't put the moves on. He was good.
Okay. So you just come in acoustic player, I'm assuming?
I tried to learn. I think I had an electric guitar. I can't remember. No, maybe it was acoustic. Oh my. I didn't stick with it, obviously.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine as well. So while you're here and you're meeting all these people and all that other fun stuff, just like how did you end up into such an art form as in this? Do you go
that
to the
came much
colleges,
later.
or is it just something you stumbled upon? Or
Yeah, so I had the hat shop for 12 years. So I'm a vintage hat restorer. I'm a milliner.
as I love that line you have on your thing, is this vintage hat doctor?
Yes,
And
I
was just
prefer that
like,
term.
That's awesome. 'Cause
I
I'm
didn't
like
wear
a
a hat
Mac
today.
doctor here, so
Yeah, so I do restore and repair antique and vintage hats. I've done that for 12 years. It's been a successful business.
So how does that work? Where do you find vintage hats, much less
Oh.
fix them and all that stuff? I mean, granted, we have the internet now, and that's where I learn a lot of things, but this is just...
Therein lies the rub, yeah. So basically, I have to just go everywhere. So people do contact me now because I'm really well known in the vintage community.
Okay.
So they'll reach out to me and sell things. But yeah, for a long time, my mom would hunt for me and send it up here. My mom's best friend would hunt for me. I would go to estate sales. I love auctions. Antique shops have always worked with me locally, so they know who I am. They don't really sell hats. So it's like...
Okay, so they find hats and then...
Yeah, I mean, they make a profit on it, but I make more of a profit because I restore it and I know I have the clientele. So
How do you restore a vintage hat then? It's
I
like-
learned, I self-taught. I looked at old books. I bought old books. I bought a steamer. I knew how to sew. So
okay,
it
so
was,
you do steam them out and stuff.
it's like sculpting kind of. And a good hat, if you want me to geek out.
Yes, geek out. I'm curious. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this hat thing, you've been going for over a decade with it, so there's something to it.
Yes.
It's not just something you just kind of
Well,
figured
I'm a
out.
mad hatter. So, if between the chemicals, the photography, and the hats.
I hope not.
Yeah. So basically, it's, you have a good hat. I mean, there's different eras, but like the most popular is 30s, 40s. Those are the most popular hats.
I bet,
So,
like the flapper era.
a little
Or is
after.
it after that?
A little
Okay.
after. And I prefer working on antique because they're fun to work with, and I like doing those shoots. But people, the ones that sell are 30s, 40s.
Okay.
So if they're a well-made hat, if they're a designer brand or just well-made, if it's felt, it will pop back into place. So all you have to do is just kind of encourage it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then mold out the dents with your fingers. And I have different, like, quirky ways of cleaning them because it's not easy to clean a hat,
Especially if it's felt. Yeah. How do you
Yeah.
clean that?
And I've probably just done things that, maybe aren't professional, but they work. So I've done, and then if it's straw, there's certain ways you can clean and repair. And,
Straw. Yeah, I wouldn't even have asked about straw. for
yeah, so you
that.
can mold straw too, as long as you have the starching spray and you have the steamer and, yep.
Wow. So these things are running on to almost 100 years old now. And
Oh
they're
yeah, I've
still
worked on hats. The oldest hat I sold was from I think it was around in the 1840s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
It was
was
still intact.
It
That's
was.
nice.
I mean, it needed some work, but when they're that old, you can't add anything to them because it's losing value. You have to clean them as
Interesting.
gently as possible, get them into wearable condition because these girls wear them, and just make it so it's safe to wear them. And then I leave them alone because when they're that old, you're going to ruin them if you try to add or glue, or I don't glue, but
But still, where would you find that hat? Or where did you find that
I
hat?
found that one from a theater company on the internet, and they sold me a bunch of hats. And what's interesting about theater groups is that they will basically acquire authentic vintage items and then use them in their productions. They don't use costumes a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
They do sometimes have costumes, but if it's already made, it's easier. Then they don't have to have
True.
it made. So
And then they have nothing to do with it after the
then
production?
it sits in storage for ages, and then when they're cleaning house, it's like, we're not going to use this old musty hat again,
Huh?
So they contacted me. I think I bought from that. Oh, I made killing off that. A lot of hats. I think I had about 25 pieces from that, and they sold because they were rare pieces. Like boom, 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 boom.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's under hi-hat culture? Is that how you say it?
Couture.
Couture.
I know.
Yeah,
all
I
my names
butchered
are
that one.
all my names
Wasn't
are
even close.
not easy.
Because I was typing it up and I was like, hi-hat culture. And I was hi-hat culture. And like, nope, that's
From a marketing
something else.
standpoint, my names are not good, but they worked. So
hey, if people know how to find them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they worked. So you sell them all around the globe and it's all online. So,
yeah, I mean, COVID hit it pretty hard, but I'm climbing back with my sales.
Good
So
COVID.
because of that business, back to that original question,
Yes.
I decided I saw this image on the interwebs. You know who it was? It was Steve Stein's stepdaughter who had a graduation image done by an artist in North Dakota
Interesting.
in this process. And I was astounded. It popped up in my Facebook feed, and I was like, what is this now? Because this is my thing. I like this old timey stuff. So I clicked through. I wasn't even her friend on Facebook, the young girl, but she had all the information of who had taken the image and blah, blah, blah. So I Googled him, and I'd like to collaborate with people anyway for cross promotion.
Gotcha.
So I reached out to him through email. I scheduled a booking, and then I went out. I planned my outfit and everything, and it was a huge thing that I did across my hat shop. So when the images were finished, I used it as a means of marketing for my hat shop. But it was during that session, and should I bring up my show and tell?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
for the video?
yes, please do.
Yeah, so during that session, I was kind of I hate the word transition now, but transitioning from one part of my life, something was ending, and there was a large amount of time and space opening up because I try to stay busy. And it was a passion project that failed, and I was just like, okay, so I need something to do. So when I was at the studio, I was just, it was like an aha moment. I just felt like, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And I just
And
decided.
that's all it took.
This is the first image I had taken using this process. I don't know if it's visible.
Let's see.
I
You
can
can
hold
see
it up
right up
closer.
there.
Yeah,
Can you turn
see
that
me.
camera
It's a
on?
pretty bright image.
Can you put her camera on?
I really appreciate it as well. But so leaving that, I decided, if you want me to continue on,
Yes, please.
I decided, okay, so I'm going to do this. It's really hard from what I can see. How do I get started? And I didn't want to approach the gentleman who'd taken my images because I didn't really know him. And we had another shoot scheduled, and I didn't want to screw that up because I wanted to get that shoot done. So I started just Googling and researching, and I bought two manuals. One was by Mark Osterman, and then one was another artist that had a book teaching. And so I read both of those books about the chemistry. So it's a lot of science. It was a lot of science. And I was just overwhelmed. I was like, oh my goodness.
But she's really good at it. You wait and see the video. All of a sudden, she starts spouting off all these like chemicals and
Well, and I'm
ratios and stuff. Like, what's going on? You know what you are doing here. The what?
Oh, when she said silver nitrate.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what I thought.
she is the legit deal. She knows exactly what she's doing, how it all works out. I mean, it's just
I wish
completely,
this was true.
really, really impressive.
I wish this is true.
She's being humble now, but trust me,
No.
you definitely want to check this stuff out.
I am a hot mess when I'm doing my images, but that's what I love about it. So after I read up on it, I was going for my second shoot with this same artist, and it just came out that I was learning how to do this. And he was just like, I'll teach you. And so he let me shadow him. He loaned me a camera to make sure it was something I wanted to invest in. It's a very expensive process.
I bet.
And so then I created my first plate September 2019.
Oh,
So
it's
I
a
went
couple
in to
years
get
ago.
this image May 2019, and I studied all summer. I shadowed him in July, so exactly 2 years ago, and then I made my first image September. All by myself. I was proud of doing that. My first darkroom had no running water. It was a storage closet. And I had to, I always tell a story. It was very tiny. To rinse my plates, I had to squat on the ground, and I had bicycle lights as my red lights. So
It works.
for my safe lights.
Yep.
So and my first exposure was on the rooftop of my apartment building, and it was my best friend Jill. So she was my first, and I don't want to brag, but my first exposure I nailed. So
And then you knew it was right. Yeah,
yeah.
all was right with the world. So how many of these do you do a week, or is this sort of something that you just do sporadically? Or is it...
I'm glad you asked that. I am proud to say I have done at least 2 images every single week since I began. I have never had a pause. Well, if you look at your images, I'm on, so I think I'm on this, I've had plates since yours, but I think I'm on plate 387. So
387 plates.
and I've only been doing
And
it.
this takes a while.
Yeah.
We'll get into when we show a little video that I made up of our day there, and we were there for a good 6 hours, was it? Or maybe 5.
It was like 4 hours, I think, but we
It
did
was over
goof around
4.
a bit. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We put her to work.
We had fun though.
It was.
And it was outdoors, which so I was dragging the camera out. But yeah, I mean I can once I get set up, I can do now 6 images in a row in probably 2 hours or 3 hours. But is every image gonna be good? No. So,
Well,
That's-
basically, as you're working with nature here, basically. It's not really a digitized thing where you can sit there and control every single environment. You have to hope that the environments all work together
right.
in order for it to work. So that was a really, really cool part, and she just had it just nailed. We should just show the video,
All right.
and then we can do some show and tell here.
This right here, the video.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Let's check this out.
Just like to show you our experience with Kary Janousek at the old school Collodion studio. She uses this camera from 1880 that was made in England. All authentic stuff. It's just awesome.
It was first used with glass plates. The goal was that they would be able to make a negative and then start making prints. So they had never made prints before that on photography. But I only do positives. So you take a piece of, I'll show you. This is a cool one. So this is a panoramic. This is an aluminum plate, and it's rose gold. It's kind of an experimental. I don't normally use these, but. So when I take my plate, I use what's called Collodion, which is like a tacky emulsion of chemicals that has ether and like forms of gunpowder in it and everything. So what they used this in the Victorian era to seal up wounds and on the field during the Civil War. So somebody thought, hey, why don't we use that to sensitize the plates and make a faster form of photography? And then that guy, Frederick Scott Archer, actually did it. He did it successfully. So what I do is I pour it onto the plate, I go to all four corners, and then this is my silver bath, it's silver nitrate. And this is the expensive, this is the expensive chemical. And basically it's what turns everything on my hands black, and it's what makes the image. So once it's poured, you put it on those hooks, it sensitizes for 3 minutes, and then I take it out, and I basically load what's called a plate holder. I'll show you in a minute. And then I come up or outside today, and we'll take the exposure. And I have about 5-6 minutes to get it done. I mean, maximum.
Gotta go.
Maximum. I mean, if it's a humid day, you have 10 minutes, but it's So then afterwards, I take exposure. I come back and I develop. I do in-hand developing, and so I watch the negative pop up in safe light conditions. And then I rinse for about 60 seconds, and I fix the plate, and it pops up like a Polaroid. So you see it immediately.
Wow. It's amazing.
So you can imagine, it was like magic.
I hope we can get them all.
Up there.
I thought this was a cool idea, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of cute.
For the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I liked this. You said you're going to dress in suits, right?
Yeah.
I really like this, like 2 sitting, 2 standing,
Okay.
a little off center.
We do need a picture for tomorrow. This is
Oh, for a 6-second exposure.
Oh, 6 seconds?
Because you're in the shade. I don't mind, I mean, there's a lot, this green's going to turn black. I don't mind it to be a little underexposed rather than over, to be honest.
I think you should have a cigarette for the photo.
Can I have a cigarette?
You can
Like,
if you want.
That'd look badass, wouldn't it?
If you want.
Or is that
Part
gonna
of
be
your-
tasteless?
Be really stern.
This is the way I always am. What do you think?
Let's have you be kind of relaxed.
I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't have the hat on.
Wade, can you look that way?
Sure.
Let me see our other side of your profile. Can you look the other way?
Awesome, man. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely
Here.
Hearts Club
Let's
Band.
go in the sun.
Whoa.
Oh, dude.
Freaking, that's awesome,
That
man.
is beyond.
We have some fogging.
We all died that day in the Civil War.
That's so freaking cool.
So these little marks come off.
What's cool is that it feels like I should be on the other side of the picture, but
And the sun won't ruin it now? It's like,
No. It helps actually. It's still fixing.
it does? God, that's cool.
That is beyond. We are just waiting. Oh, we
guys
are
are
back.
back.
Oh my gosh, but we lost everybody.
Oh.
We lost them all, but that's just how it is. Okay, we'll splice these together at some other time. I'll got a lot of editing to do here. I don't know what's going on with our programs today, but yeah, we're just having a lot of technical difficulty. But I've been so excited to do this one because this was an awesome experience, and I hope that maybe later I can post the video up, and then everyone can just kind of watch it on their own. Because basically, we're at the end there. We're doing the shoot, and then I just show the 3 digitals that you sent me. So, but we have the originals right here. So, do you mind if we open them right now? Can we take a look at them?
You can. They're yours.
Okay.
They're kind of taped up. I'm going to warn you.
That's okay. See, this is the professional packaging that you get.
Yeah.
So this is the panoramic one that we have right here. That's because I remember that part. And was this the first one you ever done? right?
The first panoramic and the first 10 by 12s were with you guys.
Oh, that's right.
I was really
we were breaking
nervous.
down doors that day.
Yeah, I've only done 8 by 10s before that.
Okay.
I mean,
so what's the proper way of getting into here without messing them up?
yeah, you need a,
Like a knife or something?
yeah.
Cito.
Oh, like I got it. always
Cito's
on
not
me.
packing heat. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I had to,
maybe-
I like them secure just because
Oh,
they're glass.
Oh, look at that.
just like that. Oh, I'm touching the wrong side, ain't I?
That's okay. They're varnished. So
Okay.
Just,
So we can touch these?
you can't. I mean, you don't want to touch it too. I still can nick
And
it and stuff.
This
but-
is one of my, well, they're all my favorites, so I'm just going to brag them all up. See if Cito can hold that up to the camera there, but
that one had a light leak in it.
yeah, it did, but
See-
to me that gives it such the character that
Oh.
it's an awesome piece. There's no way you can replicate that.
Oh, it's down here. Okay.
Yeah. They're
There's
hard
so
to
many
show
cameras.
because they're black glass.
Reversed in the camera world.
It is. So Brady's got this hard look
Yeah.
on him. and
It's gonna,
just
yeah,
awesome.
it reflects the light.
There we go.
There.
And we'll have these up at, digitally as well too for you to view.
Yeah, so
Next
these
one.
are my first 10 by 12s.
The first 10 by 12s.
Ah.
So here is the one that we were. No,
Oh,
this
that-
isn't the one.
Oh, okay.
I want to do the one we were posing for on the video first.
Okay.
There we go. And these are glass. So there we are. If I can get it kind of in the light, kind of not. There we go. That's about as best you're going to get it without the reflection. But again, we'll have the actual digital scans up on there. But these are just so cool. And you would have got our reactions when we were she brought these out while it was developing. And it's like going back in time, literally. You look at it and you're like, what? What just happened? It's like that's from 100 years ago. So, and then
You guys did great.
we got our band cover art for the album right there. So,
Let me see if I can get that.
can you get that up closer, Cito? Yep.
Oh,
And it's all of us in suits in such and such. Trying to get more into a wedding garb type thing we were thinking.
I think it looked nice with the trees.
And then Kerry had this hat for Cito. That was like, once he put it on, that was like, that's Cito. That is so Cito. And then Kerry was so nice to give it to him at the same time. And he's been wearing that to all
Oh,
the gigs
good.
lately.
At the
So
wedding?
yeah, it's a really cool.
What happened to the other picture? The table.
Yeah, we had the
Oh yeah, I have as an artist, it's like if I'm not happy with the way something is, I have to make a choice. I still have it,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, I can give it to you, but it had a lot of silver stains around the edges, and sometimes I don't like to have things floating out there that I'm not proud of, I guess.
Understood.
But
But what would it take to get it off here?
yeah,
I really like that
I'll
one.
drop it off with the prints. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll get prints for everybody.
No, those were really cool. It was a great experience. We went out there, and she was at that point was working out of an old school building, and we basically went up and we got dressed up in our little marching band uniforms. So thank you, Dr. J, and thank you, Pam Redlinger, Morehead High, for loaning us the old marching band uniforms. The one from NDSU is literally 3 generations of uniforms that we kind of mixed together there. So that was just interesting that he had all that stuff that went all the way back into the 80s like that. And so we did like a Lonely Hearts Club band type photo, and then we did one with we put some decent clothes on. And the experience was that she explained it like you saw in there, like what was happening, what she had to go through in great detail, not stuttering with all the ums and stuff that I always do. It was an awesome just set up. We knew exactly what to expect. Went down there, and then the whole idea is that like holding still. You think holding still for 6 seconds is easy? No, she had all these little things for us to do, like you hang on to this, make sure you have 3 points of contact so you don't move around so much. And we still, if you really look hard, some of us still had some motion in there. And we're only literally holding for 6 seconds. We're grown people, and we're not messing around. So yeah, it is a
guys
real
did great.
experience. Yeah, and then she comes back like 10 minutes later, and she has the photo just right there in the sunlight, and it's just and it just brings you back. It's like 100 years ago. It's like you look at this thing and you're wondering how doesn't this look like a regular photo from today? Why does it look like this? This is the whole thing. It looks like that you went back in time. And
it gives you that reversal thing too of like what you imagined what it looked like when you look at old pictures too.
Yeah.
You know, and it looks just like the way we did, sharp colors, and I don't know why it just makes your brain. It's weird.
It is, but it is such a cool experience. So thank you again, Kary, for doing that for us. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Thanks
awesome.
for coming out and supporting.
Of course. And hope we can get some more people supporting for you here as we go along. Hey, we got 4 people back. All right, sorry about that, guys, but it's been a weird night.
Open to like hire you? Anyone can do
Oh,
portraits they want.
Yeah, so I do. I don't know when I'm supposed to talk about my new studio, but
Oh, you got to get the story on the new studio.
Yeah.
You said something happened. Something happened.
Okay.
She still wouldn't tell us.
yeah. So I wanted to tell you because it was a cute story. So
Okay.
I was looking for a different space that was in town because I live in Fargo. I wanted to ideally be downtown, and I went into this antique store, and this lady, antique people, sellers love me because I'm looking for hats. And so she and I started talking, and I said, well, my focus is photography now. I'm not a photographer, but I'm an artist, and I use this form of photography, blah, blah, blah. And she said, you know who would love you? The owner of the building, and he's looking for a new tenant. She goes, the space is below me, but there's also space on the top floor. So long story short there, it took me a while to get a hold of this guy. He's an artist, and he's very busy. And so finally I got a hold of him, and I just showed up and he was there. And he said, okay, come see the unit. I looked at it immediately. He told me the price. I'm like, mine, I'm taking it. So then I went back, and he wanted to let me do a test exposure just to make sure that the natural light was working in the unit. I have to use all natural, you have to use UV lighting for my type of photography. You can't so the windows can't be coated with UV coating. So I wanted to test to see if the windows had UV coating on them. So I went up there because it's got amazing windows. And there was kind of a little back and forth between another guy who wanted the space. And we were just making conversation, and he said, after I found out the exposure was great, I wanted it, and I said, please let me rent it. So I was kind of fighting this guy for the space a little bit, and he started talking about how he heard I could sing, and I said, yeah, I sing opera. And so he said, oh, okay. The owner said, if you sing opera, I want to hear you sing a song then. So the place has amazing acoustics. It's amazing in there. The acoustics of that, it's tall ceilings, just incredible. So I sang an Italian song live on the spot in front of the guy that was arguing with me for the space, and the guy who's renting me the space, possibly. And the landlord literally cried. I'm not bragging about what I do, but I'm just saying if I hadn't sang that song, he wouldn't have given me the space. And so the other guy didn't win, basically.
The room helped you get the room.
Yeah, exactly.
My old skills came out, but I just thought it was kind of romantical that he was so moved by music that he was wanting to have me in that space.
It's like, who's more artistic?
Yeah, it was
Just
a little
one with
bit like I had to be the
like a
performing monkey,
competition.
but hey, it was such a
No.
good space. The price was right. I would have sang him several more songs.
Well, it just sounds like everything just fell in line exactly
Yeah.
as it should. So then you know you're in the right spot when things
Yeah.
start happening like that, which is great. Then you were talking about that you want to start collaborating with all the businesses around you as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. It's a nice little area because there's a lot of artists in the buildings there, and then there's some quirky little shops. And I've talked to several of the owners, and they're open-minded about doing a block party so that we can help each other out. I eventually want to use the space because it's way too big for just a photography studio. I'd love to do art shows in it. So featuring other artists. My dream would be to feature, so there's 4 wet plate artists in the state of North Dakota.
4 wet plate artists in the state of North. How many are there in like the U.S. or in the area besides North Dakota? There
I
can't be
don't
too
know.
many of you.
There's not many. I think at this point there's probably about 1,500 people worldwide.
1,500, that's it.
Around that. This is a guesstimate.
But still.
There's more people learning in recent times to do the 10 types because there are a lot of classes, but about 1,500 people. Some people learn and don't stick with it, you know?
Well, this is definitely, it's an involved process, so I can understand why you'd be like, oh, that was cool, and then just kind of let it go.
Yeah,
but
it's just not their thing.
You can tell that that's not you. You're definitely involved in this. But can we just talk about the hardware for a moment? Because I'm a guy and I like to know about the hardware stuff. Where did you find that camera? And the camera's authentic.
That's another good
1880,
story.
England.
Yeah, so
Looked like it was.
Things just happen for me, Wade. I don't know
It just
why.
happens because it's supposed to.
So basically, I keep saying basically. Please stop me.
We're all right.
I was looking for a camera because I got a arts partnership grant to complete a program, a series of photographs for the the Cass County Historical Society, and I'll plug that later. But
Okay.
I needed a 8x10 camera. I only had a 5x7, and I had only so much grant money to work with. I looked around at some of the newer cameras that were reproductions that were within my price range, and I just wasn't happy with what was available. And then I saw this camera on eBay. I don't know if somebody told me about it or if I just found it, but it was a 10x12 with adapters in it to do the other sizes. And John said, you should reach out to this gentleman and just tell him your historical project and see if he has sympathy for you, because the bids were already very high. And he said, just see if he has sympathy for you, and maybe he'll sell it to you for your grant allotment. And so I did that. You shouldn't really do that on eBay, by the way, but
Yeah.
I did not do anything against the rules of eBay. He just Googled me after I contacted him, and he found my website and all my information's on there. So he reached back out to me. He said, I'm selling it to you directly. I want you to have this camera. My great-grandfather used to have a photography studio in North Dakota.
There is the connect. What? In North Dakota?
And he's from Pittsburgh. Or no, I'm sorry, Pennsylvania.
This is just starting to.
Yeah.
It's blowing my hair back.
And so he ended up
beyond.
I know. And so he ended up calling me. We had a super long conversation. He was just excited as all get out of what I was doing. And he sent me the camera, and it had all the plate holders and lens boards, and all that stuff's important.
So technically, that camera probably came from North Dakota.
It didn't. It came from England.
No.
Yeah, but it wasn't his grandfather's camera.
Oh, okay.
But he said he felt it was a good place for it to go.
Man, I thought that'd be like a great movies type theme, just following the camera.
So,
Do they try to make newer models of those?
oh yeah, there's amazing new models.
Okay.
I mean, you can pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But
So someone makes like replicas of them then?
they just make modern day versions of it. I mean,
Oh.
it's a large format camera, and people are doing all kinds of large.
Are they
format.
easier to work with then, or was that? Are they the same? Let's
They're
just go
easier
with
than
that.
my little quirky piece.
Well, okay.
So my camera is from the 1880s, and it has its quirks.
Well, that's
so
I think that's what makes it cool.
yeah, I have quirks. So it just when I took out Bonanzaville just last weekend, it was already missing a screw, which is the focusing element, which you cannot. You can't keep it focused otherwise.
Oh, wow.
So I had to use duct tape. What I would do is I would get the focus right. And my dear friend Kevin, who is also a wet plate artist, was there to help me. And then I would have to duct tape where the focus was at, and then take the image. So we did all those images of Bonanzaville that last time with duct tape, basically. And then by the time I got that camera home, it lost 2 more screws. So I had to.
wow.
Yeah. So I had to go out to the hardware store. The gentleman there happened to be an expert on Victorian technology, and he took it apart and totally put new screws in, and now she's all ready to go.
Wow.
Yep.
Again, falling into place.
Yeah. Well, and people like quirky things,
Well,
so
true.
But it was weird that I just happened to meet that guy at Max Hardware, and he just happened to know about Victorian
Did you
screws.
keep that guy's number then?
I invited him to the studio, and he was like nonplussed. He's like, I just wanted to work on this. See you later.
Wow.
I like to work on things. That's what I do.
So you kept that guy's information, right?
I know he works.
You know
yeah.
exactly where he's at.
He'll
Okay.
help me again if needs be. I'm not taking that thing outdoors very often anymore, but
Just got to get a good carrier for it.
yeah.
But wow. Okay. But so that brings us to, we need to ramp this down just a little bit. But Cito, what's going on out there this weekend? Well, what's going on? Here we got
There
some
we go.
audio. Oh my gosh.
I hope you guys
There
all
is
read
so many
that.
technical.
You didn't have to hear me reading it, so. all
I'm
right.
sorry, Kary.
Okay.
This makes this kind of fun at the same time.
Yeah.
But there was the weekly report from Cito. So again, all
wait.
dates and
Just one more,
times
one more.
and. That was the hat. That hat is so epic. And again, all dates and times and venues are subject to change at any given note or without any given notice. So make sure you do contact your venues or find out if everything is still on as planned. All right, so We have some juvenile destruction we should get to as well, Kary, and this one might make you cry a little bit just
Oh,
for
no.
what you were doing.
What did you do?
Well, go. Go. That was perfect aim too. You're hired. Do you have any feelings for that? No, there wasn't any prints on there or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you should have been wearing goggles, maybe.
What?
I've had so much glass in my various areas from cutting glass. Yeah.
So you actually do the glass
goggles.
cutting too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? See, I'm one of those. I
I'm
don't know. I just see
full
the people at the
service.
hardware store do it. So
No, I have to cut it because it's stained glass. And, it comes in huge sheets.
okay. Even more involvement in all this stuff. It's just so interesting. So cool.
When can I plug my stuff? Is
Well,
it
you can-
time yet? Okay.
Yeah, this is perfect time to plug all your stuff. So where can they find you? How do
well-
they find you? I have some of the links down below.
Okay, I have Hi-Hat Portraiture is my it's a horrible name.
Portraiture. T-O-U-R.
Yes, Hi-Hat Portraiture on Instagram, and I have a website, hihatportraiture.com. I also wanted to say that I have a event coming up. So I did finish my grant project, and that was 10 wet plate collodion images, amber types, and 10 types I made of the historical buildings in Bonanzaville in West Fargo. So we took 10 images of their employees dressed up in character.
Oh, nice. Because they have all that clothing out there and such.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and so then those of these important buildings, so those will be on display starting in August. I think it's 21st is the weekend, and I will be doing a live demonstration of the process.
Oh, wow.
So-
you got to get out and see this.
And the images will remain showing, I think, for like a year or two. So they'll be and then they're going to be archived in the museum.
And they'll be there
So
forever.
that is important. And then I have a solo show in November that's going to be coming at the Spirit Room of my conceptual art projects. And so that's very important to me. So
You have a hard date on that yet, or just September?
I do. I didn't write it down. That's in November. It's like
That's okay. She'll get a
it
hold of me.
starts the
I'll make sure that's
17th.
in the comments or in the.
we're a little
information below.
relaxed, us artists, and also
Oh, yeah.
my lady friends at the Spirit Room. We like to be relaxed. It's not a high pressure gallery, so they do a nice job there. I like to roll with those kinds of people.
Excellent.
How I roll.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah, so, and I do portrait bookings. So if you want to know, I'm booked out until September. So I do portraits, and they'll be in my new studio downtown, and my rates are on my website.
Okay, it's all on the website, and you can get a hold of her on there and on some social media as well. So make sure you reach out. Definitely. To me, I always thought, I just want to plug this real quick. It's just that while we were doing this, it was such a great bonding experience because we all had to work together and everything else. And at least for the band itself, we got to sit there and just kind of be silly with it as well, and then just get to see the whole process just lay out in front of you. But I'm thinking wedding parties. If there's something right before a wedding or, the day before a wedding or something, your whole wedding party does this thing, it's something you'll never forget. You'll never forget. And then you also have, the cool hardware to bring home to make sure that it never gets forgotten. So I just wanted to push that out there a little bit for you. So
Oh, thanks. I just to make it clear, though, I don't do weddings. I'm sorry, I do not do weddings.
You won't do a wedding party?
If they come in as just a group portrait, of course.
Yeah,
I
that's
would
what I
do
was
that.
talking about.
Yeah, that's excellent. I don't do on-site portraits for weddings. It's just a high-pressure situation. It's an important event, and you don't want to get anybody's hopes up on their big day.
Understood. No, but I was just thinking of that
yeah.
because we went and got her face shaved before.
Yeah, that would
like,
be
in groups,
cute.
and now just something like this would I think would just be really, really fun. to do.
Bachelor night or bachelorette night, yeah.
Yep.
They're welcome to come over and have a group picture done.
There we go. Clarification.
Yes. Yeah, I don't do certain things, but most things I love costumes. Anything over the top is recommended.
Oh, yeah, we do have some photos of stuff that she has done. Now, granted, we were having some issues with this earlier. Hopefully these work.
Have a burnout.
And there were some photos. We tried to get the audio up so we can do a little commentary on it. But do you have anything to say about those? or-
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have left, but I wanted to mention a couple things. So there was a self-portrait in there that's going to be on auction at the Plains Art Museum for their huge event, the gala, and so that any of those images that you buy at the Plains Art Museum, it goes towards free art for all. So that's what keeps the Plains Art Museum free admissions to everyone.
Excellent.
So that's
Excellent.
very important, and that's
Yes.
that's going to be August 13th, I think it is. It's on my Instagram as well, but it's a big event. So get your tickets to the Plains Art Museum Gala. And then there was a newspaper article I don't know if I have time to touch on, but
Oh, yeah, go for it.
yeah. So one of the big things that meant a lot to me that was in that little bunch of photographs was the header from the newspaper, because the title was responding to the negative. My friend Ethan Mickelson used to work for the Arts Partnership. He wrote that article, and it was my first published work in a newspaper, and it was
Nice.
a project during lockdown. So what happened was, when lockdown happened, we couldn't leave our homes, and the wet plate artists of North Dakota had to close all their studios, and I had just opened in the schoolhouse. So it was really, we were all kind of traumatized with what was going on,
Yeah, exactly.
So I just thought, overloaded with negativity, and I just wanted to do something that brought comfort and positivity. And so I got all the wet plate artists of North Dakota together, and we did a little project where one person would send another person a random object in their immediate surroundings. And then they would take a wet plate image of that object.
Interesting.
And so Ethan really the gentleman who wrote the article really liked the idea because there was so much negativity. And so he put us in the front of the forum. That was a big deal for me because I had just been doing it as a hobby pretty much till then. So, yeah, it's important. And I got to do it with the gentleman who taught me, Kevin, the longest practicing wet plate artist in North Dakota. He's semi-retired, but he's still practicing. Ryan Stander, I think he's the art professor in Minot College.
Okay.
He does wet plate Collodion as well. And then my instructor's daughter was involved as well.
Oh, so what objects did you send and what objects did you receive?
So we started with Kevin. I think it was Kevin, yeah. So Kevin has been doing it the longest. And so I sent him as the youngest or newest wet plate artist,
Okay.
an antique Victorian lock and key.
Oh, okay.
So I sent that to him in a little box, and I signed the box. And so then he took an image of that, and then he took a old silver nitrate bottle, antique bottle, and sent that to my instructor. And so he signed the box and sent it. So then my instructor and his daughter made an image with that, and then they sent Ryan Stander it was like a brass bowl, incense bowl, and then he did that, and then Ryan sent one finally back to me. So he sent me like a little sculptural carving. It was like tramp art kind of thing. Like somebody had just carved a piece of wood. And
Okay.
yeah, so all of our images were published, and yeah, it was a big deal because it was something, just a bright spot in, at that time.
Yeah, exactly. We all needed that
Yeah.
time.
So that was important to me. But that's been over a year now ago. I can't believe it.
Time just keeps moving. It does not stop. No. But it stops when you're doing some wet plate colloidal, right? Did I get that right? Collodion.
Doing great.
Silver
I made,
nitrate.
yeah. I made mistakes in my little video, as we know. You get nervous and you say things that are technically incorrect, like, I said there was no other printing off of negatives before. There was, if I'm going to be geeky, it was called the calotype. So there was a form of printing. But wet plate collodion negatives were far superior.
So there we go.
So I corrected myself just in case.
All right. Well, it was great meeting you, Kary, again, I should say, and getting to hear your story and basically everything that's going on out there. Please check out all the stuff that Kary has been doing, and make sure that we do, keep out there and helping out with all the arts and music and everything that's been happening lately. And looks like everything's ramping right back up again, and I'd like to see a little bit more. I'm always pushing for a little bit more, so I always say that a rising tide raises all ships, and the tide has been rising. So thank you all for out there, and remember, if your drummer has more charisma than your front man, your band may be in trouble. But that's why my band's doing just fine. So until next time.